Alright YouTube, thanks for checking out my channel. In this video, we're talking about a major wiring flaw that happened on my Road Glide. There's already a bulletin out for it. This is for 2023 and a half and 2024 touring motorcycles. Today I'll talk about the bulletin, how I found it, what the fix was to my major wiring issue. By now I have my bike back, so we'll take a bit of a test ride and I'll put my bike on the lift and show you guys a little bit more about it in the shop. Otherwise, thanks for checking out my video and we'll see you out there. So you'll notice that I saw on my belt there's an uneven wear line on the inside here, and you could feel it. There's a noticeable wear mark on the inside of my entire belt, and trying to figure out where it came from, following it up the bike, you can see that in here the belt was wearing on the harness, if you can see that. Let me get a light. So this harness right above the drive belt there in the middle of the shot was hanging down, wearing on the drive belt, causing drive belt wear, but it also caused my wiring harness. See if I can get this on video somehow. It caused the wiring harness to be worn down to bare wire. I'm gonna do my best to get this on video. You can see where it's torn on the sheath or the wiring loom there, and that's a pretty major wiring harness. So I have an appointment to drop my bike off at Reno Harley next week. I'll wrap up the video with a summary of the solution and hopefully help you figure out if your bike had this problem. So what I know right now is that there's a service bulletin for this, and that service bulletin, what it does is they tell you to either zip tie the wiring harness up, which it looks like that was done at some point by somebody, since there's some electrical tape there and the wiring harness was zip tied, but there's also a new part that completely covers this wiring harness and protects it from the drive belt. So solution to come, and next time I film, my bike will be either at Harley or back from Harley. All right, so we're back doing a test ride today with the all new wiring harness installed in the bike. So far, no issues. Been about 20 miles. So they did end up replacing the full wiring harness, installing the new bracket that's in the bulletin. They also found that my amplifier in the fairing had shorted or was bad, so Reno Harley took care of that for me. But you can kind of see the new bracket in here. I'll get a better shot of it when we get the bike on the lift, but we're out here doing some riding on Geiger Grade in Reno, doing a test ride, shaking things out. Only took about 2 weeks to get my bike back, so if you have this problem, I hope you can get a wiring harness in. It doesn't seem like there's a big back order on it, which I was worried about. So overall, I'm pretty happy to have my bike back, as anybody would be. So we're gonna do a little bit of riding. I'll play some riding footage and then we'll get back in the shop and I'll show you guys a couple things with the bulletin and the new wiring harness. All right, so we made it back to the shop after some test riding, about 50, 60 miles, no issues. I did have my bike on the lift and was doing some inspection, just checking things out, seeing what the new wiring harness looks like. There are a couple definitely key differences. I'm gonna get a light to show you guys what it looks like in here. So this is the new part. Let me see if I can put my light there, not melt it. This is the new Harley part that I'm pointing at right there. You can see that it holds the wiring harness up and off of the belt. I'll splice in what it looked like before right here. You can see how it was rubbing on the belt and it's hanging low. Now going back to what it looks like now, you can see that the bracket is holding it up, the wiring harness away from the belt, and you cannot rub the wiring harness now. That's a new belt right there. So this was a common problem again that they fixed with the Bulletin and this part. And it does not look like it's something I'm gonna have to worry about again. You can kind of see the new wiring harness across there. Now I'm gonna take off the side panel, show you guys around the new harness so you guys know a little bit about what to expect if you need to get this job done. But 50, 60 mile test ride today, no issues. And hopefully, no issues moving forward. Now, one thing I'll note real quick is that the ignition coil is a common problem on these bikes. Everybody knows about it. Harley knows about it. What's interesting is that the wiring harness right there, it came zip tied, which was causing a lot of the problems. So this is a 2026 wiring harness, and it still came zip tied. So I did clip that zip tie at the bottom there. It's no longer there, in hopes that, I don't have that issue come up. Now I do have this pin that's hanging in between my cylinders there. I'm gonna try to zip tie that back to the bracket so it doesn't melt, but it's interesting that Harley still zip ties that ignition coil. All right, so all of this got replaced. The wiring harness in here, main wiring harness to the BCM's in here, the ECM here. This is the new plug for the tuner that I have. I have the Screaming Eagle tuner, so all of this got replaced. You can see that I have a new belt now. My previous belt was worn halfway, so it doesn't look like I'm having any wearing issues yet, but all new belt on my bike, around 8,500 miles on the previous one. I'm not gonna take this panel fully off because I have the plug here that I don't feel like I'm plugging right now, but all of this got replaced. And here, this is all part of the main wiring harness and wiring that comes across. So it all looks wired properly, and all the wiring has enough room so it's not too tight. And again, this is the new wiring harness bracket. It comes in this big sleeve that goes all the way up to the fairing. Now you can see here, this wiring harness, if I can get this to focus, it's from 01/21/26. So it is a new wiring harness. This goes back to the lights, BCM down here, new sleeves, new wiring harness, heated gear, new tender plug as well. I run the extension because I have a tender plug on that side cover. But overall, I'm happy with how everything came out. I'm super thankful to Harley for taking care of that. I know, and it can be frustrating, and a lot of people will say that should never happen. It's a new bike. I do have a 2024 model year. They were figuring some things out, as you can tell. And all new bikes, what you're really looking for, you want to make sure your bike has that bracket. Now, one temporary fix that my bike did have before was a zip tie holding it up, but it just wasn't enough, I think, under 2-up riding conditions. All right, so that's gonna be it for this video, talking about the M1652 Bulletin and some major wiring harness issues on some of these newer Harley-Davidson, what the fix was, my experience. Overall, it's been positive so far, but I'll leave a comment in this video if I end up having any issues that come from this. So far, I'm optimistic that it's been taken care of and that I won't have this happen again. So we'll see you on the road, and ride safe out there.